what are you trading? Are you still in gold? I got stopped out personally.
Yeah, I had a pretty wide stop on gold,
Okay.
so I'm still hovering. I'm in drawdown. I think I'm in at 1967. But
Okay.
just putting the stop below that low from July 17th. So that green candle a little far back
Got it. Got it.
right
Okay.
here.
So over
Yeah.
here. Got it.
So yeah, just because like you said, the Fed meeting coming up, so I know there's going to be a lot of swings, could be in either direction. So um, it doesn't affect my bullish bias on gold, but I don't want to get stopped out too quickly
Hmm.
before this decision happens, which is I'm also looking at indices as well, but I haven't entered. I do like S&P though. If we
Okay.
pulled that up on the 1 hour, um,
Hmm.
there's like one candle. Yeah, this recent candles could be a higher
Oh.
low. Also looking a
Hmm.
little strong. Um, but I guess if you were to go long on one of them, you could still have the same bias on both. Although the Dow has been outperforming both these indices so far, which is kind of unusual to see. But I guess
I've
it's
noticed that,
real.
and price action's really clean on the Dow right now. I mean, you got to think a lot of day traders, swing traders are probably looking to this level. There's probably a nice, buy side interest around this area, 35,340, let's call it, on the Dow. Yeah, I mean, I like this. I would say the Dow is moving perhaps the cleanest of the three. I did take
Yeah.
Nasdaq just because I like the way it moves very quick, and the percentages can be very quick as well. I of course took a smaller size due to that, but yeah, I mean, so I do also like your idea on S&P. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. So you've got gold. Do you have any other open trades, Frank?
Just gold for now. Looking at indices and also euro pairs. I want to see
Okay.
euro dollar. I want to see that come down to support around 1.1 almost. There's a
Mm,
trend line and there's just a previous top, which could be another demand zone. So just seeing price
yeah.
come down a little more. I'm more bearish dollar than I am euro. So um,
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I like this setup. And that's one of those things, Frank. This is a daily chart, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red candles in a row here. A very rare to get that many red candles in a row. If it shoots down another day or two, gets us down to that 1.1, I like that trade a lot. This is a longer term chart. We're looking at a daily chart here. You got your trend line that you mentioned drawn to the upside, key level of support, probably a bit overextended. I like that trade a lot. I like in the currency side, that euro looks a little oversold in my opinion as well.
yeah, that and euro yen, I would say, just because the
Mm.
two kind of opposite central banks. I guess the question is when is the BOJ going to step in? But there's really no indication of it anytime soon. So we're seeing one ECB fighting the inflation, getting it down to 2%. Meanwhile, Japan going over their inflation target of 2. They're sitting like somewhere over 3, and it's probably just going to keep rising.
Did you know our market scanning software, the EDGEFINDER, just got even better? Check out our newest asset, Bitcoin. That's right, Bitcoin was our most requested feature update, and we're so excited to announce Bitcoin is finally here with plans to add even more crypto in the future. We've also updated our most popular feature, the Smart Money Tracker, adding even more data than before. The EDGEFINDER not only automatically scores 8 different metrics for each asset to give it an overall buy, sell, or neutral score, but it also keeps track of bank and analyst positioning, stores historical fundamental data, shows how assets are trending throughout the day, and so much more. Right now, our YouTube viewers can get the EDGEFINDER at a discounted price when they use promo code A1YT. You can check out the EDGEFINDER with the link down in the description below, and again, get it for the special discounted price when you use promo code A1YT at checkout.
I've got a Nasdaq trade. Speaking of which, it's going all right. We'll see if this one can hold. What are you looking at today? What do you got on your radar?
Yeah, so let's take a look at the charts then, Nick. So, there's a lot of talk about the US dollar pairs, and I just want to, concur with Frank. There's a really nice level on the euro US dollar at the moment, if we sort of bring this down a little bit, there's an area here that I really like for euro US dollar. You know, we've got not only have we got a horizontal level, but we've also got the moving average 20, which I use as dynamic support. So in terms of a level, I really like it in terms of, you know, taking buys back up to here. But it's not a trade for me today, because if you look at this candle, I just cannot buy a candle that looks like that. You know, it's not a trade for me today, depending on what this candle does. You know, today's candle, it might be a trade tomorrow. So let's see. But then you also have to bear in mind, you know, we've got the Fed tomorrow. So, you know, we may have to wait a couple of days before we get a trade here. But just in terms of a level, I really like this level. And it's the same for the pound US dollar. Yeah, here we are. So pound US dollar, very similar scenario. You know, we're clearly in an uptrend. We've retraced to a really nice area of value. You know, and when I talk about value, we just got so much room for this trade to move into. And again, we got the moving average 20 as dynamic support, and we've got this level through here, you know, that is horizontal support. So, you know, really like a couple of these setups, but, you know, we've got the Fed coming out tomorrow. It's difficult to commit to them at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking at those two.
I like those, Tom. I will say, I think you know, pound and euro have been not necessarily you know, on my direct watch list, but Frank, we've talked about those two charts specifically. They both pulled back a little bit, and I think that if you're bearish dollar, those are some interesting trades right now, because you've got the pound, which, you know, had some weak PMI numbers. It had some lower than expected CPI that dragged the pound down, but still it doesn't change the fact that, again, you mentioned we have Fed meeting tomorrow. They are almost certain to raise rates. That is not surprising. That, you know, that's what everyone expects. But the more important question is, from there, does that story continue? Or do they want to rate hike again, or do they want to pause? And that's where the volatility will come, because everyone knows what's going to happen in July. Sometimes that could be confusing. But again, I think your risk to reward, as you're mentioning with these pullbacks here, you're coming into technical levels. You've had several days of selling. The risk to reward there looks really nice in some of these euro and pound crosses. You know, I think, Tom, with the euro and pound against the dollar, that's one side of the interesting story. Do you have any other euro or pound pairs or crosses, perhaps against the yen or the Swiss franc, or any other crosses that interest you, or not so much?
Well, one chart that's quite interesting is the euro pound, because if you think about it, we're interested in buying euro US dollar, we're interested in buying pound US dollar. But if I had to choose one, then, you know, we could look at the euro pound, and that will give us an inclination as which one could potentially be a better trade. So in terms of a weekly chart, I really like euro pound as at this level. Okay, so the weekly chart, you can see price has come down. Yeah, structurally we're in a downtrend. Even at this point up here, we are still in a downtrend. These highs, these last highs, haven't broke, and we got this wick that closed back into this level, and we're at the moving average 20. I really like that combination of, you know, dynamic support in terms of a moving average and horizontal support. And you know that you can see that this is already, we're seeing a lot of selling pressure at this level. I mean, if we traded the weekly chart, excuse me, if we traded the weekly chart only, you know, potentially we could take this trade back down to these lows. But if we look at the day chart, it's a slightly different picture. So this was a target we had in. I didn't actually get in this trade. I didn't have a setup, but this was a target we had, this blue line. But day structure for me, you know, once it breaks these highs here, we're in an uptrend. Okay, so we're in a daily uptrend, a weekly downtrend where we've been shorting from here. So, slightly mixed messages here, but if I had to trade this pair, I would still look for euro pound shorts, potentially, a weekly play back down to these levels. So, yeah, if we go back to the euro US dollar, pound US dollar trade idea, I would look for pound US dollar over euro US dollar for this reason.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, and I like the way you broke that down for us, Tom, in terms of, time frames. That's a big thing. A lot of times traders struggle with that is, guys, what Tom is referring to here, he's shifting time frames, looking at the weekly and then getting confirmation and then taking it down to the daily chart. And, you could really hypothetically do that all the way down the chain, down to, the 1 hour or even lower. So you have all these options. I think that it is an important thing to learn how to take a look at multiple time frames in order to kind of build a more full picture of what the chart is telling you. So, I can give just a quick follow-up idea with my NASDAQ concept. I'm very bullish on the NASDAQ on the higher time frames, but you can see my chart my risk reward looks ridiculous on the daily chart. It's because I didn't actually take this trade setup off of the daily. I just liked the direction. I like the strength overall in the daily chart. But then when you start breaking it down, you say, okay, 4-hour chart. Well, we've been in consolidation and clearly there's a little bit of some wicks off the bottom. Okay, cool. Now down to the hourly chart. Okay, now we start to see a zone here that was kind of upper limits to consolidation. We had the break here. And when we take it down to the 30-minute chart, which is where I actually executed this trade, we had the break, came back in, wicked off the bottom here. And this is where I entered the trade. So it is a powerful thing to take a look if you're going to be a technical trader, to understand the concept of multiple time frames and understand a full picture to get better confirmation on your trades.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.